I love how we like totally lost the light. Hey everybody, welcome back to my chaotic little book corner. Or the chaotic little book corner. It's mine, but like I share. We're good. Yeah. I'm Acacia. Today I'm doing the summer book tag, which I was tagged by Miss Amanda Center, channel link down below. It's not summer here anymore. It's still like 75, 80, which I am mad at. Like, I'm not having it. Just, I'm mad at it. So I'm going to do this a little differently. So the first question was, what was your 3 books that you wanted to get to this summer? I'm going to go with my top 3 books of this summer. Actually, you know what? No. I'm actually going to answer that question in tomorrow's video, and I'm going to do a top 5 books of this summer. So that's how I'm going to do that. So tomorrow's books will be top 5 books of this summer. The next question is, what is the character for you that most embodies summer? Now, I'm going to base it off of the character that most embodied this summer for me. And that character would definitely be, Lucy. Lucy from How the Blessed Lived by Susan M. Smith, because this book was one of my, loves of the year so far. I read it in the summer. I loved it, and it is definitely one of my top 5, but I've mentioned it so many times in top 5s that I'm not doing it no more. I'm gonna try. So this was fantastic, phenomenal, but the reason I put Lucy in as my character of this summer is so Lucy in this book definitely grows as a character. She learns who she is as herself, and she learns about her life and her traumas and her past, and she learns how to live with them and be at peace with them. And I think that's what my summer this year has really been about, is coming to peace and coming to terms with the fact that I have a past that's really not pretty, and it's really not easy to deal with, and I've been trying to learn to come to terms with myself and all parts and my psyche and everything about myself, and these alien-like feelings inside of myself growing. So I loved this. 10 out of 10 would recommend, but definitely I think that this was the character that embodied summer for me. Next is which book physically depicts the summer. Now for me, I'm going to do which book physically reminds me the most of this summer, and that's going to be this. This is The Little Friend by Donna Tartt, even though I was not very impressed with it. I did read it while I was at a bluegrass festival, so I absolutely love the memory of it. And the other thing is, the band that I loved the best, which was Shell. Actually, I had all of the band members sign this book because it was the book that I was reading while they were there and performing. So while I was sitting in the beer tent listening to them perform, I was just chugging water and reading and listening to them, and that was the soundtrack of this book. So it was really cool to have the soundtrack of the book sign the book. Yes. This is a story of a young child being murdered, and then his sister, after she grows up a little bit, goes after to find out who the murderer was and solve problems, and la la la. It was lovely, but not the secret history. Bummer. I liked it. It took place in Mississippi, so it was a good read to read during the summer when it was really hot and outside, and you could hear the chirping and the birds and things, and it was a really good read to read in a environment that kind of stimulated that feeling of heat and humidity. Well done. Next is a book that a memorable holiday that you took, or a book that you read on a holiday that is memorable. Now that for me would be my mother and I going down to Brookline for a weekend, and we listened to Amy Schumer, the girl with the lower back tattoo. I really haven't done much this summer aside from my friend coming home, and during that time I didn't read anything, so there was really no connection of memory of book there. So this was really my biggest memory, was driving with my mom and listening to this and coming to the realization that Amy Schumer is really not just a comedian. She is a very in-depth, deep person, and she has had some struggles in her life and some really bad things happen to her that really don't make it easy for her. as a person, and so I'm really, really glad that I got to read this, and then I got to listen to it with my mom and digest it and kind of talk to her about things. It was a really nice relationship time for her and I had a really nice time with my mom that day, that little weekend. So there's that. The next question, what am I going to do this summer? And what did I used to do for holidays as a kid? So, I'll be real, my family didn't really do holidays as a child. We usually went to Storyland, which is the cheap version of Disney World, and it's based around, like Mother Goose sort of stories. So there was like a Three Bears house, and there was a Cinderella castle, but like Cinderella 98% of the time wasn't even in the castle. It was like, now looking back at it as an adult, I'm like, why did my parents spend so much? But what my parents would do, because we didn't have a lot of money, was we'd arrive around 4:35. The park closed at 6. We'd do like one ride, but if we arrived at that time, the next day we would get in for free. So we just paid for one ticket, but then we could just arrive early the next day, and our ticket would already be paid. There was some sort of deal like that. So we'd do that, but we'd also camp the night before. We always got Chinese food. It was really, I remember it being wonderful, but looking back as an adult, it was probably pretty painful for my parents, because I don't think they were doing it for themselves. I think they were doing it for me and my sister. And we really loved Storyland when we were kids, but it's an interesting little place. It's definitely lower quality. But it was really wonderful for what we were, and for kids who really didn't have much aspect, like, who were still imaginary and, like, were able to get their brains flowing in their life, like, Rory and I were still able to, like, really imagine the world and, like, really immerse ourselves in it, so it didn't feel cheap to us. It just felt like this magical place that we loved to go. So I really appreciate that my parents did that, because probably was not too much fun for them, because it was always hot and obnoxious. And then, as far as things that I was looking forward to doing this summer, my friend Stevie coming home from LA. That was really my big, big thing, and it was really wonderful to see her and spend time with her and go out to a few restaurants and just have a nice time with her as, like, two friends who have known each other since we were 13. That was my highlight of this summer. I don't get out much, so there was really not much else. But it was a real treat for me, and for me it felt really special, and it felt really exciting, and it got me all jazzed up all year, because I knew it was happening for about a year, so I was really, really stoked. We got to have lobster together, so that was always nice. I mean, that's a New England style thing. And I really don't tag anyone in this, because I think that summer has passed, and we'll do it next year. If you want to do it this way or the original way, I'll link all the questions below, and you're more than welcome to. I'm not a big summer fan. My season's coming up right now. Like, the leaves are changing. I can smell crispness in the air when I wake up in the morning. It's like 45 degrees at night, which is great. I can't wait till it's like 20. That's when I'm, like, happy. When I get to, like, nestle in and it's like 20 degrees outside and I get to have hot cocoa, like, I'm just excited. I'm stoked, because the cold winter is coming and I'm so excited. But yes, I will see you guys in the video tomorrow, and I'll talk to you then, and that will be the top 5 books that I've read this summer.